What is up, guys? Welcome to the ThinkComputers Weekly Tech Podcast. This is episode 310, and our podcast is brought to you by Amazon. Go to thinkcomputers.org/Amazon and happen to purchase something that gives a little kickback and keeps the podcast ongoing. With me is my co-host, Ryan. What's going on?
Well, not much. Just make sure my internet's working all right.
Ryan
my
has
smooth and non-jittery, and
he hasn't. He's been having issues the past couple of weeks.
What the deal is, yeah.
Yeah.
Supposedly, Fox is coming out next week though to do some sort of work in my area, so maybe we'll get some improvements.
Yeah, hopefully we don't have crazy issues.
Yeah.
But yeah, talking about Amazon, there's been a lot of good stuff on sale recently. NVMe SSDs as well as Razer products have been on like awesome deals, like really awesome deals lately. So if you guys are looking to pick something up, check out Amazon and you can go ahead and do that. So yeah, so what's new with you, man? Like I feel like it's only been a week, but I feel like
I know it flew by kind of.
I feel like it's been like a long. I feel like it's been a long time. I don't know. I just feel it feels weird podcasting right now. I feel like I'm like back from a vacation, even though I wasn't on vacation.
Yeah, no. Bought way too much IKEA furniture this weekend. Took like a day trip up there and outfitted like 4 rooms.
Have you put it all together?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
We drove up to Kansas City and back Saturday. Then I put stuff together Sunday and Monday.
Nice. Did you get anything cool? Like any cool?
Yeah, we got like a new TV stand. And we're not sponsored by IKEA. It's just, that's how I roll. I'm cheap like that. But yeah, a TV stand for the basement family room. And then 2 like display shelves to just kind of clean it up and look more adult than just like the random stuff we've had forever and just didn't match. So all this matches and looks nice. And then got my daughter a bunk bed, my son a desk for his room. And then I bought like 2 cabinets for this room for comic storage. So
nice. Yeah. So how far away is Kansas City from you?
Like 2.5.
So that's the closest IKEA, that's the closest IKEA to you.
Yeah.
I always like take that for granted because like in Pittsburgh, we had one that was in Pittsburgh, and then moving here to San Diego, I have like there's one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Before that one opened, the closest was Dallas, and that's a 5-hour drive.
Jeez. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like people in Micro Center. It's like you never realize if you have a Micro Center, you never realize how good you have it. But then when you don't have it, you always wish. Because I remember in Pittsburgh, you had to drive 3
or
hours.
Fry's, right? When they were
Fry's. Yeah, like 3 hours into Ohio to go to Micro Center, I believe, or something like that. So yeah, like especially when they had those, like how Micro Center has those in-store only CPU deals. I remember once I drove like 3 hours to get a CPU and stuff like that. So, well, that's cool.
Anyhow,
but yeah. Did you see their? Last time I was in IKEA, I think we talked about this too. Did you see their ROG?
I did, and we did talk about it. And I think I had mentioned that I was looking at the cases, and they had graphics cards in them last time, like RTX series graphics cards.
Were they real though?
I didn't take a case panel off and look, but it looked real. There were no cards in any of the cases this time. So they got stolen, or they're like, oh, we're gonna need those back so we can sell them. I don't know.
Or like this isn't a good idea
to put products from their gaming line, which I'm not gonna spoil it because I'm just gonna make some social posts for the site.
Okay, nice.
Just need to make a little
Yeah, no, I
like
did
Chalk or
notice the
whatever.
stuff. The
thing.
chair, their chair was just
Oh, it's
not.
no.
Yeah, not. And again, you like okay, so Asus ROG is like super high end brand. You would
Yeah.
consider like for a computer brand, that's a super high end brand.
Yeah,
And
top
that
tier.
yeah, and like IKEA in the furniture space is not a super high end brand, right? So
This chair's more in line with IKEA than ROG.
yeah. So it's yeah, because I was like, oh, let me because last time I was in there, I was like, let me check out, what they have,
Yeah.
and yeah, it wasn't really it wasn't that great. But yeah, let's jump into everything that we're going to be talking about this week. If you guys do want to follow along, we have our full show notes page that has everything that we're going to be talking about this week. So you can go ahead and follow along with us. Starting first, we have a new NVMe SSD from Western Digital. It is their it's their WD Black SN770. WD Black is Western Digital's brand that's really targeted towards gamers. And if you, at least for me, when I think of WD Black, like I think of the super high performance products, whatever they may be. But actually, this is sort of like their entry level into the WD Black. It's very aggressively priced, and it doesn't have that crazy heatsink like we've seen. You know, in previous WD Black NVMe SSDs. But yeah, so this is a Gen 4 NVMe SSD. It's rated for 5,150 megabytes a second read and 4,900 megabytes a second write. So it's not on the super high end as far as Gen 4 NVMe SSDs, but it's obviously going to be faster than a Gen 3 drive. So if you're somebody who has a, you're getting into like an Alder Lake system, a Z690 system that has Gen 4, or you're on a Ryzen system, X570, and you need some drives, this is going to be one that you definitely want to consider. So yeah, so the drive is pretty simple. Like I said, it does not come with a heatsink, and it's single-sided, which you're going to see a lot of. So the reason they're single-sided is so they're compatible with your PS5 and does Xbox have one of these? I don't even know.
I'm not sure.
But it's at least compatible with PS5. So again, like single-sided. And then on the main side here, again, no heatsink, small controller here, single NAND chip here. The controller, excuse me, is made by SanDisk, that's a company, it's a Western Digital company. So it's all in-house. We don't know much about it. We do know that it's 4-channel, but beyond that, we don't know
Secret
anything
sauce.
else. Yeah, it's a secret sauce. I'm typically a fan of a company fully building out their own controller, and everything like that, because that gives them more control. We've seen that with the Samsung drives. I'm a pretty big fan of it. But yeah, there's no this is like a coprocessor. I'm not really sure what this chip is over here. And then there is no DRAM cache chip on this. So this is a DRAMless drive, which typically is like, again, entry level drives are typically no DRAM cache. It saves money, obviously. So this is going to make use of the host memory buffer, which basically uses your own system memory as the cache. We've seen implementations of it. Sometimes it works great, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, and then the NAND itself, it's 112 layer TLC, which you can kind of see right there, just a single little package. So it's a nice little package. For those wondering, it is a 80 millimeter or 2280. It's going to fit in your standard M.2 slot on your motherboard. And again, like I said, it will fit in a PS5 as well. And then just getting down to like the nitty gritty as far as performance, let's go to the comparisons at the end here. And you can see it kind of sits where the normal Gen 4 drives kind of sit. As far as our performance goes, you can see the higher end drives, in the 6,000-7,000 megabytes per second range. But again, this is still going to be your typical Gen 3 drive. If we go through our our performance tests and everything like that. It's not the fastest drive out there, but I think what this comes down to, and I think this is Western Digital's thing, is that it's going to come down to price. And this drive, the 1 terabyte version that we reviewed, is $114.99, which is very affordable. It's more affordable than like the Crucial P5 Plus, which has around the similar performance. It's a lot more affordable than a lot of other drives, and it's Western Digital. They back it with a 5-year warranty. It is compatible with their SSD dashboard software, which I can show you, which is actually some of the better software out there. Kind of looks like this. It allows you to see what's kind of going on with the drive. You can run some tests. You can, do all the stuff you want to do, and it's actually a pretty good app as well. So I think with everything said, this drive is just a really good drive for what it is. You will have to cool it yourself. But again, most X570, Z690 motherboards that you're going to put this on, they're going to have their own, M.2 cooling solution, which we used on our Z690 system and we tested this on. So good little drive. I like it. It's, again, instead of picking up, maybe, one super high performance Gen 4 drive, you can get 2 of these for the same prices as one of those. And then you can have, boot drive and maybe like a game drive or something like that. And I mean, this is leagues beyond a normal SATA-based SSD. A SATA-based SSD is going to completely max out at like 550 megabytes a second. And here you're over 5,000 read and almost 5,000 write. So it's a really good drive for that. So definitely check out our review on this. I really like this drive, and it's awesome to see. I love when fast storage just gets more and more
glancing
affordable.
Over at my SN750, and I'm like, maybe I need to bump up to a SN770 now.
Yeah, it's a nice drive. So.
I wish though they would make a version like they did with the SN750 that you could get it with or without the heatsink.
Did they have an 850?
They have the 850, which is faster.
Does that come with the?
They do have it with a heatsink. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I see. They didn't with that heatsink. Here, I'll bring it up here so you guys can see it.
It's
with
got
that
light on it, doesn't it?
I don't know if it has the light on it, but it. Oh my god, there's all these pop-ups on this. With heatsink. So, yeah, that might be a light right there. But they didn't this heatsink. The original one was like built in conjunction with EK. You remember that?
Right. Yeah, that's the one that I've got. Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah. But this is the higher end drive, obviously.
Correct.
And
yeah.
The 1 terabyte of that is 169. So yeah.
It's actually
it's probably cheaper on Amazon.
149 for the SN850 without the heatsink.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then also this week, we took a look at more DDR5. I talked about it last week. We took a look at our first kit, which was like the most basic general kit, no heat spreaders, no RGB lighting. And a lot of you guys were like, we want to see, like the stuff that I actually, would want in my system per se. So we have the ADATA XPG Lancer RGB. Our kit is DDR5 6000 or 6,000 megahertz. Super fast. 6,000 megahertz running with timings of 40, 40, 40, 76 at 1.35 volts. We'll take a look at this. It very sleek looking memory too. I do have to say, I don't know how you feel about it, Ryan, but I actually like it quite a lot. Obviously black PCB. The heat spreaders are very thick, kind of like the brushed aluminum on, black brushed aluminum on one side, and then this other side kind of has these like lines coming down it, and then you have the big diffuser in the center here for the RGB lighting. So we have the black version. They also offer a white version, which looks excellent as well. If you were trying to do like a white theme build, those look absolutely awesome. You can see the top here has the diffuser that just says XPG, and we'll get into the RGB lighting, which does look quite good. The thing that ADATA has done, or XPG has done for even with their DDR4, is that the diffuser is thick. So when you look at the memory, it looks like a single light bar. Like you can't distinguish where the LEDs are in here, especially if you look from the top. Like that looks like a single light bar, basically. Right. And there's pros and cons of this. The pro being it looks like a single light bar. The con being that it's not as vibrant as some of the other ones. It's diffused. It's a little more diffused than other RGB lighting that we've seen on memory. So just keep that in mind. But I'd like it just looks like a single light bar. I'm a fan of that, but some people might not be. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, the RGB lighting is excellent. It works with every major motherboard manufacturer software. It does not, they don't have their own software. So again, I think like even like BioStar has their RGB, like every, yeah, I don't think there's one that doesn't these days. I mean, initially there was, but I think again, this is compatible. It's going to be picked up by your motherboard software really easily. And in our testing, like I said, this is the fastest memory that we've ever tested. And it's awesome. I mean, it's super, super fast. This is going to be great. Now, you do have to keep in mind, this again runs at 6,000 megahertz. You want to make sure the motherboard that you're testing on has the latest BIOS, because we actually tested it on the Gigabyte Z690 Aorus Ultra, and it would not boot. Just wouldn't boot at all. So I switched over to the Asus ROG Maximus Z690 Hero. Booted up, no problem. So that's what we're going to be using going forward for our DDR5 review. So definitely keep, make sure you have the latest BIOS and check the QVL on your motherboard, because you don't want to get a kit that then doesn't work. You know what I mean? But yeah, just a good overall kit. It looks really good. Again, we talked about this last week, but DDR5, the default kit will be 32 gigabytes. So it's going to start, the dual channel kit is going to be 32 gigabytes. And then this one, I believe it's going to be available in 64 gigabyte kits as well. The 32 gigabyte kit that we reviewed is $399. So again, DDR5 and the Alder Lake platform is very expensive to get into. DDR5 is going to have a premium for a while, so just keep that in mind. But I think this kit is excellent. Lifetime warranty. I mean, it's just, it's awesome. And it's one of the faster kits you can get out there. A lot of the kits like this that have RGB lighting, they're around like 5,200 megahertz. So being 6,000 megahertz is very fast. And I'm definitely a fan of it. So definitely go ahead and check this review out. This is an awesome kit. So yeah, when are you gonna get? You gotta get DDR5 out, man.
Man, I'm still on Gen 3 NVMe drive, so we'll see.
Yeah. Well, the thing, your computer does support Gen 4.
It does. It does, and it has from day one. So
yeah. So yeah, why did you? Well, I guess when you got the Gen 4s were brand new and very expensive. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Yeah. And you were upgrading from like a traditional SSD. So going from
no,
oh, you weren't?
No. I had a Corsair MP500.
Okay.
In my original
Ryzen
system.
Got to get on that Gen 4. I have to send you a drive over there.
Well, I'm thinking. Well, I don't know if we do.
Tell me what you're thinking.
No, if we do QuakeCon, I'll do a new build, a small form factor build.
So. Nice. Yeah. Oh, so you want to you want to actually go to the LAN?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why else would you go?
I mean, just to check it out, but I haven't been to LAN.
No, you'll want to be there. You'll be so mad if you didn't have a PC.
Yeah, no, I'll bring PC. Yeah, so we were talking about if there is a QuakeCon this year, I think we're gonna go. Yeah. But no, I haven't done a LAN party in so long. LAN parties are so much fun.
It's so fun. I always have a blast.
Yeah, I remember like this is like years ago. So I used to go to the Million Man LAN in Kentucky, in Louisville, Kentucky. That was a lot of fun, and that was like always
been to QuakeCon in 5 years. So 2017 was
See if we can.
Because it was you and I were talking. I hadn't started writing, and like I was on my way down, like emailing you or something. And
Yeah.
at
No,
Playcon.
I remember that. Yeah. Now I'm gonna have to do a little small form factor.
Yeah, we'll have a little
Build
build
too.
off and.
I'll just probably just bring a laptop, honestly, like a gaming laptop or something. But yeah, so we'll keep you updated if that's going to be our plan. It would be nice. It's typically it's in like August, right?
Like late July, early August usually.
Yeah. So we'll see if we can go ahead and make that happen. We'll move on to Case Mod Friday, which of course is where we feature a build or mod that's been done in the community, and we have another one from Snef Computer Design. This is his 5000D Gold and Black, which is in the Corsair 5000. I think it's just the 5000D. Is that what it's called? Yeah, the Corsair 5000D airflow case. If you know Snef Computer Design, you know his style. I really like this. I really like the let me bring up like how he's done these kind of angled fittings here that kind of offset each other. I don't know how you feel about that. Obviously I like the colors being from Pittsburgh, black and gold. But the gold is like a kind of like it's like oil, like it makes me think of like oil or like something like motor oil or something.
Yeah, and like the braiding, the sleeving on the cables right there is like a reflective gold look, right? It's not just gold; it's almost a metallic look. So that adds to the I don't know, metallicness, I guess, of this build, and all those hex screws. Have the gold touches there. Yeah, this is pretty sweet.
Yeah, custom channels on the back here. What do we call this? A mid plate, custom mid plate with channels built in. Lots of water cooling, which just looks excellent. It's just so well done and just so sleek. That's what I love about his builds. They're always just like so like how sleek that is. It's just that's all it's like all I can explain is just sleek. And like you have two two tubes going out this way and two right here, and that's it. Like it's just very, very well done.
Is this no, it's a dual radiator. There's one up front, isn't there?
Yeah, there's let's see. I think there's one up front. Do we have like a front view? There's not a whole lot of pictures.
Go to the bottom left picture.
There
it's kind of a shot from the back.
Yeah, there's a radiator there.
I presume, because that's a lot of hardware to cool with a little 240 or 280.
Yeah, really cool stuff, man. It just
and the screws on the back for the power supply are nice, like big gold thumb screws.
Yeah, it's those little touches which I really like. I'm a big fan of like just the little touches and things that a lot of people don't do, but some people do. And I just think this looks awesome. So shout out to
they used didn't use Corsair fans though, right? It's in a Corsair. A lot of times you see if they're using a Corsair case, they're going to use Corsair fans and all this other stuff, but they did not use those.
He's using the ROG fans. Which are supposed to be really good. And they have like all these. I think he's using an Asus motherboard too. So like they're really cool what you can do as far as like you can change this. You can obviously change the speeds and stuff, but I think all these fans you can just put them in, what's that called? The Hydro node that supports this. So you can plug them into a splitter and then connect them to your motherboard, and it will read it as two separate fans, which is really cool. So it's the Crosshair. So this is a board that I reviewed, the Crosshair
8.
Yeah, I was like, what is it?
how many lines?
Crosshair 8 Extreme. So you can power basically the entire. The board itself has enough power for all of the pumps and everything. Like you can run it all through the board and all through Asus's software, which is really cool. I'm not sure if that's how he's doing that, but overall, like I said, super sleek. It's kind of like a sleeper build almost. I mean, I know that this is like there's going to be a tempered glass window here, but if it wasn't and it was closed, you wouldn't necessarily know that it's this crazy build, which I actually really like. That's how it was back in the day. Before, I remember before there was like Windows got like really mainstream, you would pop off your system and then you'd have like this badass water cooling system or something that like you wouldn't
nobody
see.
ever saw.
Yeah, that's kind of how it used to be. So So yeah, check that out, of course, on our Case Mod Friday section of the site.
That's
And
back when we used to run radiators outside the case.
yeah, back in my day.
That's right.
Yeah. So we have a new architecture, new NVIDIA architecture. I know that a lot of people aren't excited yet because this obviously didn't come with an announcement of new cards. It hasn't been that way for like a long time. Like when we get a new architecture, it's always data center stuff like that first, and then it will trickle down to us, the consumer. But we have NVIDIA's new architecture, which is called Hopper, which is named after Grace Hopper, who was a U.S. computer scientist. And of course, this will be replacing the Ampere architecture, which was launched 2 years ago, man.
Yep.
Again,
time flies.
Time's flying. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think we should really go into a whole lot of detail on this because it's not
so early.
It's so early. And again, the product, like the GPU, which is the NVIDIA H100, that you're not going to see that in any consumer facing product that we would use. You know what I mean? If you want to read up on the architecture, we do have all of the deep, like we have the whole press release here so you guys can read up on it if you really wanted to. I think as we get closer towards the end of the year, we'll see, you'll see retail graphics card based on this architecture, and then we can get a little bit more excited about it. But this at least means that we will see stuff. When you don't see an architecture announcement, it's you get kind of like, when's this coming? But it was kind of expected that's kind of what was coming, and yeah, so we'll kind of see where that goes. What do you look at, like, so for like next gen graphics cards, like what would be your checklist, or like what would you want to see as far, not even like, I guess, performance wise, but on top of that, like what else would you prefer? Like I'm thinking like I want it to be obviously more efficient.
Yeah, more efficient. I think a standard of, I think 8 gigs is too small for future proofing. So I'd like to see like maybe a minimum of 12 across the board.
Okay.
Right, like starting at 12 gigs of video memory. Size, really, like if you think about it, the Founders Edition cards are really pretty small. When you take that cooler off, right? The board, it's not enormous,
board, yeah.
Right? The board.
I thought you meant the cord. I thought you meant the card itself. Yeah.
No, right? So, like the size really doesn't equate to by the time you got the cooler on there, so that's not like a smaller card. It doesn't, whatever, cases are big enough for it, so that doesn't really bother me. I don't know. Obviously more performance, so
yeah, I'm looking for more performance. I don't think we'll see, we did see a change in the PCB design with the Founders Editions, but that wasn't really reflected in the card design because you still had that massive cooler on there. Yep. You know what I mean? Yeah,
power delivery and the connection, right? Maybe going, I don't know.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing everybody wants is availability, right?
Well, sure, availability and reasonable prices.
Yeah,
or at least availability at MSRP.
Yeah.
Or slightly above, obviously, with AIBs, but
yeah. So again, if you want to read up on it, check out the article. And then we'll obviously keep you updated as we go throughout the year and we get some more information on actual, retail facing products. Talking about current graphics cards, another cool mod that somebody did that drastically improved temperatures, which is really cool. So a YouTuber named Danny Works was trying to fix temperature problems on GDDR6X memory. This memory gets super hot. That's why we have these massive cooling solutions. And what he was able to do is to put copper shims on the actual chip. So you can see one on here. And then as you can see up here, they make contact obviously with the heat pipes in the heat sinks for better cooling. And he was able to do that. Really cool. Cut down how much did it say he went? Cut them down. So from 110 degrees Celsius to 64 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
It's a massive drop. Now these cost like $13 a piece for each one. And depending on which card you have, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these. And then you would obviously void your warranty by doing this. Right. But if you wanted to cool down, everything, you really could. But I just like cool things like this. Again, I guess we've talked about it a good amount this year about these really cool little projects that people do that modify things to make them run better or do something different, or like we've seen, like adding memory.
Wasn't it last week we talked about the mobile GPUs being outfitted onto physical add-in cards? Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, so just cool. A lot of really cool stuff. I just think this is cool. We have the video for this in the actual article, so if you want to check it out, but it is linked there. So definitely check that out. It's just something really cool and really different. So yeah, and and we talked about this slightly, but a couple weeks ago, Apple announced their M1 Ultra chip with their Mac Studio. They're big. One of the things that a lot of us PC people kind of shook our heads at and were like, what is this little graph that they had here that said the M1 Ultra GPU performance is actually higher than the highest end discrete GPU using 200 watts less power. And they said they tested it against the RTX 3090. Yeah. And that's a pretty bold claim. And I mean, if you're an Apple fan, that definitely gets you excited. I mean, getting something that's as powerful as an RTX 3090. And if you see, I mean, we'll talk about it, but like the Mac Studio is like it's small. It's
not big. Yeah.
It's not very big. And to get that, and I mean, it is expensive, I'd say. It starts at $4,000 for the M1 Ultra edition.
But you're getting so much more with it, right? I mean, you're not just getting a GPU, you're getting a full system. So
yeah. So it's, but obviously the people have got their hands on it and running some tests. It doesn't look like it comes anywhere close. Here's just some Geekbench 5 benchmarks. You can see that the RTX 3090 scores over 215,000 points, whereas the Mac Studio with the Ultra scores 83,000, which is not close. And if we actually go to gaming benchmark, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the RTX 3090 at 1080p is 142 FPS. The Mac Studio with the Ultra chip is 108 at 1440p. The 3090 is 114 compared to 96 of the Mac Studio. And then they didn't run.
I was going to say, it's interesting. There's no 4K results
for
the 3090.
Interesting.
I'm going to guess it would be right around 100. Actually, probably 90 to 100.
I'd say 80 range. But yeah, I mean, it obviously those claims are not true. Maybe in specialized applications it could come close, right? But just in all-out compute, no. And in at least Shadow of the Tomb Raider, no. And just looking at the results based on this test, it's not remotely close. I'd say it's closer to like a 3060, 3070 based on this, which is still pretty impressive, honestly, for what it is. But yeah, so take that with what you will. Obviously, I know a lot of you guys aren't really into or are interested in a Mac Studio in the M1 Ultra, but it was just kind of, it's nice to see that they're not, with it. It's nice to see that this graph right here, it was not actually real. Like it's not I don't know what they're basing this graph on.
Yeah, they don't say what it's like. What
Yeah.
benchmark are you running? Performance measured using select industry standard benchmarks.
Yes, I don't know what that is. I don't know. I mean, obviously, we see this with CPU and GPU benchmarks. A lot of benchmarks are cherry picked because whatever processor or GPU performs better at that specific benchmark or title or whatever it may be.
Yep.
But yeah, that's obviously not the case. Talking about the M1 Ultra, and I did see this, and I was actually really surprised because I didn't really like follow. We don't follow Mac stuff all that much. And somebody got a Mac Studio with the M1 Ultra, and it is massive.
Really?
The actual chip.
Oh yeah, so yeah, I saw this.
Like, here's a Ryzen chip. If you're familiar with a Ryzen chip, and this thing is like the size of a Threadripper, if not bigger.
It's huge. I mean, yeah, it's definitely bigger than a Threadripper. It's enormous.
It is big. It's really big. You can see the whole teardown. We have a link to the video of the person that did it. But yeah, I mean, geez, that's a big chip.
It's so huge.
Yeah,
it's like four of that CPU.
But I mean, that is the CPU and GPU all on one. Thing. It's interesting the cooling on it too. So if you look at it, it has this.
It's just two heat pipes.
Two heat pipes
that are attached to like a plate that makes contact. Yeah. What is that at the top though? That's kind of like the silver piece that's hanging off.
I don't know what that is. I'm not sure. I'd have to watch. I didn't watch the whole video, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I didn't.
But yeah, check out the video. You can see the breakdown and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, pretty interesting. Just seeing the Ryzen chip next to that is just pretty crazy if you ask me.
Where was that? Did you have that in the show notes?
What?
I don't see it. That link you just said.
Yeah, I skipped.
Oh, you skipped. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not doing good this. I'm skipping everything.
I'm not doing good.
I'm not. Yeah. So, also somebody got their hands on an i9-12900KS, which it's shown to beat the Ryzen 9 5950X in both single and multi-core Cinebench tests. Let me find the scores here. It scores 2,162 points in single core and 29,164 points in multi-core. And you can kind of see how that, Tom's Hardware kind of compared it to what's out there. And you can kind of see how it outperforms, like a 12900K. Obviously the 5950X is down here. Yeah, so I mean, we kind of expected it to be better. Obviously better than a 12900K, but the 5950X as well. Yeah. I still don't know if I would be super interested in this chip just based on heat.
Like heat and price, probably.
Heat and price.
Yeah.
I don't know.
For the amount of performance you get over the the non-S part.
Yeah. If I had like a full decked out water cooling system, maybe, if that makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, and then talking about AMD will be coming out with a Ryzen 7 5800X 3D. We talked about this last week. It has been confirmed that it will not support overclocking. So obviously adding the 3D V cache, no overclocking will be supported. So if you go into your BIOS and want to do any tweaking on the chip itself, you won't be able to. I think people buying this chip, I guess some people might have been interested in overclocking, but I think a majority of people they want this specifically for gaming. They're not going to do anything that's going to affect, obviously, your gaming performance per se, as far as like temperatures go inside your system, which overclocking, of course, makes things a lot hotter. So yeah, this was
they say it's not supported, right? But someone will figure out a way to.
Yeah, I mean this would be BIOS locked, right? Yeah. Like anything, and there are ways around that.
Yes, I'm sure once this thing's released, a couple weeks later, we'll have an article about, so and so overclocked this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so we'll see when it comes out. But this was a rumor initially, and it's come like this is, and it kind of makes sense. It is their first consumer 3D V cache chip. You want there to be no issues, and obviously, if you don't allow people to tinker with it, there will be less issues. So I think it kind of makes sense for AMD on that front for sure. And then Intel introduced new ATX power supply specifications. So we have seen multitude of new power supplies leaked, and some that were announced that they couldn't specify specifically what the power connectors were. And now we have the actual spec from Intel. So this is ATX 3.0 specification. The biggest change, obviously, is the connector right here. So that is what do they call this thing? The 12 VHPWR connector. It will support PCI Express 5.0 graphics cards. It will provide 600 watts of power through a single cable. Do you think these are going to get maybe you see it on Amazon, you see like these cheap brands, right? These cheap power supply brands. And we've all heard stories about like computers going up in smoke with like a crappy $50 power supply. That much power running through
600 watts is a lot.
Running through a single cable. And again, there's not going to be a card right away that will push that, right? But like as we get up there and things like that happen, like some cheaply made connectors and cables from some off-brand, like you see one of these like melting or like it's a lot of power going through a single cable, I would say.
I mean, yeah, it's a set of 12
pins
cables, 12 pins to provide that amount of power, but that's so much power, like you said, going through one plug. And cheaping out on a power supply is something I never recommend.
Yes,
thankfully we've kind of gotten away from like cases that come with power supplies. That used to be like the thing when you would do a build back in the early 2000s. It's like, well, I got this case and it came with a 250 watt power supply, so I guess that's what I'm using.
Yeah,
at least that's how I rolled for a while.
I remember a lot of times people would like cheap out on the power supply, like get the cheapest one you could find, and things like connectors would melt and things would.
Well, it just causes system instability that you're not getting consistent voltage or voltage regulated in the way your components need, and it'll just introduce all sorts of issues you're trying to troubleshoot that make it tough to figure out what the actual problem is.
Yeah, so that's the main update to the specification. There's also new guidelines for ATX 3.0 that include new DC output voltage regulation that will be necessary for managing new power excursion requirements. So, things are changing, man. And then we also have ATX 12 VO 2.0. What this does, the big addition for that spec, is that it adds a PSU feature to the desktop platforms. Basically, this was only available on mobile and server platforms. It provides a benefit to small form factor systems that can't have like a large power supply inside. So, wait, this doesn't make sense. I'm reading this again. I read this earlier.
Where at?
Hold on. I thought it was. I'm trying. No, I thought I read this and that it was the VO 2.0. Yeah, so it's going to support like Gen 5, like it's going to support Gen 5 graphics cards and things like that, but it's going to allow it to be in a smaller form factor, which is good. And the actual, like, it's going to allow the system to also kind of use less power when things aren't in, like when you're not gaming or when you're not doing stuff like that. Like very like power saving, like I said, that was only available on like
in
mobile
laptops and stuff.
yeah, like mobile platforms. You're going to see that on this new specification as well. They did talk about this new MSI system that does use. There's actually two MSI systems that do use it: the Creator P100A and the MPG Trident AS. So they will have a ATX 12 VO version 2.0.
Now we're not getting any new power connectors for like things like SATA. However, though, right? Like folks
I
haven't seen anything like that, so that's good.
No. Yeah, changing all that stuff would take.
Take.
Remember
forever.
when we went from IDE to SATA?
Oh yeah.
And you had to get first you had to get the adapters.
The adapters, yep, for the power.
Yeah. So, big changes on the power supply front, but I think it's good. I think it will be nice to, as we get to this next generation of graphics cards, hopefully like one connector. You're not going to see the super high-end graphics cards with like two of these 600 watt.
Oh my god!
Yeah, no, you'd get like
some 800 watt beast.
I do hope that they design these though, like, cause I hate the NVIDIA implementation. It's in the middle of the card for one, and it sticks out. Like, it's just not a good implementation, in my opinion, on their Founders Edition cards. So yeah, new power supply, and again, all the new upcoming power supplies will at least most of them will have this connector. So definitely, if you're building a new PC, definitely look out for that. Or if you're like thinking about building a new PC in the next coming months, maybe wait a little bit, because we have seen a few of these announced, but you might want to wait till a few more get announced. You have a little bit more of a choice as far as like getting this connector to kind of future-proof your system. So yeah, very interesting story, which I sent Ryan earlier this week. So I said the guy in this picture looks like him. There was so obviously we know what's happening in Russia and with Ukraine, and obviously basically like every major company kind of pulled out of Russia. Things not being sold. McDonald's left, and both AMD and NVIDIA said they're obviously not selling products in the country anymore. And when something like that happens, like any time a company just leaves a country, the products that are left there obviously go up in price. And GPUs that were still in warehouses sitting there, obviously on the black market or on eBay or whatever, go up in price dramatically. So these guys who worked at a company called Wildberries, they stole 20 RTX 3070 Ti graphics cards. The cards were valued at around almost $2,000 each, making the total haul of everything almost $39,000 worth of product. And you can kind of see like they were caught on camera and stuff. And they weren't actually like, they were caught on camera, but they weren't caught. Like they couldn't identify them, I guess. I don't know. But then they went to like a local pawn shop to sell them, and that guy alerted the authorities, and that's how they got caught. Man.
Well, they couldn't identify them because their faces are blurred in the video there.
Well, I think they're blurred for other reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of crazy.
You think that looks like me, huh? Because it's a guy with dark hair.
I think it's just a hoodie.
I mean, that does look kind of like me and my filthy casual hoodie, except it's
that's what I mean.
The purple one, yeah.
That's why I thought it was you.
Nope.
But yeah, so kind of interesting. It is going to be very. Obviously, I don't know how long this conflict's going to kind of play out. But if it does for a while, I mean, they're going to need to get silicon from somewhere. And
and not just for graphics cards, like for anything.
Yeah, for anything. Right? Like, are you going to see a Russian-made graphics card? Are you going to see a Russian-made seat? Like, you know what I mean? Like those type of things. I think that was no.
As I say, I feel like China did something like that, or
I think Russia did, or I don't remember. But it's going to be interesting. You feel bad for the people in country, obviously, who have nothing to do with the conflict, that like
Sure.
they were about to buy a new PC, and now they basically can't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of sucks. So interesting story. But yeah. And then our last news story, which is a gaming news story. I'm not excited about this because I never played any of these games.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. CD Projekt Red is they're coming out with a new Witcher game, or they're working on a new Witcher game.
Okay. Yeah, I had a free copy of Witcher 3 when I bought my GTX 970, and I installed it and played it for about 30 minutes and never touched it again. It looked good, but I just couldn't get into it. I don't know. There's some people that like live and die by this game, though.
Yeah, especially
I think
very
Witcher big fan base.
I think Witcher 3 was really the big one, though. I think that was the big one that like a lot of people really, really got into.
You get a TV show about it, right? That just did really well.
Yeah, I watched I think the first episode. I didn't like understand the lore and like the universe of the game. So watching the TV show, I didn't. I mean, you understand it, but like it's not like it's not like watching like, so we both played like WoW, like watching like the World of Warcraft movie was like you're more into it because you actually played the games. I never played the Witcher games, but yeah, it's gonna be powered by Unreal Engine 5. Obviously this is decently far out. But yeah,
sweet.
I don't know. It's called. It just says the new saga. We don't know what the game will be called or anything like that, but definitely getting fans pumped up for it. I'm sure there's diehard Witcher fans that are extremely excited about that. And then we have coming up next week. So I'm back on the Z690 motherboards, taking a look at the ASRock Z690 Taichi, which is the one that has the little gear in it.
Yep.
But yeah, awesome. I love the Taichi motherboards, man. They're like one of my favorite like series of motherboards, and I'm really excited to take a look at this.
It's got an external USB 2 add-in card, huh?
I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not really
it looks like it doesn't have very many USB ports on the back of the.
Yeah, I haven't
on the I/O.
Let's see, where's
section.
Not a ton. Well, because they replaced them with Thunderbolt 4.
Yeah.
So the Thunderbolt 4, you can technically pull. I don't have.
I do like the illuminated ports, though. That's so cool.
Yeah. And these are Lightning gaming ports. I don't know, but in any case, like a Thunderbolt 4, you can pull out to like a hub that can do at least 4 USB 3.2 Gen 2, or yeah, it should do at least 4. The 10 gigabit or however you say it. But yeah, it should do that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's 6 USB ports on the back. So
okay.
So yeah. So definitely stay tuned for that next week. Ryan will be taking a look at the Cooler Master Liquid P. How do you say this? PL360
Flux.
Yes. He making a video on this, and we'll have a written review for you guys as well. 360 mil rad on there. It looks pretty nice too. The RGB lighting looks.
The lighting in those pictures doesn't like match up. The pictures that they have there like make the fans look like they're more like a crystal clear color. You know what I mean? Kind of like the G-Skill Trident. You know how it's got the crystally look as opposed to like a diffused look on RGB memory. That's what this reminds me of in these pictures, right? They look like more of a clear plastic, and it's not clear. It's more translucent. So I don't know. It's a little deceiving.
Well, we definitely stay tuned for that. I got a little sneak peek at Ryan's video. It's actually pretty good. So definitely stay tuned for our YouTube for that. And of course, we'll put it in the written review as well on the site. So definitely stay tuned for that. And then I'll be taking a look at a completely different cooler from Noctua. It is their NHP1, which has no fans. It is a completely passive cooler that's just all metal, man. It's just metal. And we'll see.
I'm surprised it doesn't have more fin density than that.
Well,
But if you don't have a fan blowing against it, I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so the reason, and these are thick, so I was actually surprised at how thick the fins are on this. And that's so natural air can flow through it. Because obviously on a normal heatsink you have really dense fins, and then we have a fan that's physically attached to the cooler, but we don't have that here. So this allows more natural air to come through, like you would have your intake fan on your case and all that kind of stuff.
You're just getting that passive airflow.
Yeah, so we'll see how this does. This cooler had been in development for almost 2 years. So we'll see if it makes sense for people who want a quiet system, if you can actually cool a mainstream CPU with it, all that kind of fun stuff. But it's big. You can put a fan on it if you really want to, but we're going to test it without the fan initially. They did send us an extra fan to put on there, but
what case was that? Go back.
That's
an Inwin.
No, it's
the Johnsbow.
Yeah, the Johnsbow one. But yeah, it fits in there quite nicely. But yeah, we'll see how this does. So I'm pretty excited to take a look at that as well. Also, guys, I would say that you're hearing this. If you're watching live, you could know. And then if you are listening to this early on Thursday, tomorrow, which will be Thursday, you might want to just be in our Discord at a certain time. I think maybe I'll put something on social media, giving something away to you guys. So definitely stay tuned for that. We're going to be doing a lot of like social media related giveaways. Like we're still going to have our normal giveaways where you have to like sign up for the newsletter and stuff, but like I'm just going to be like randomly giving stuff away in our Discord, on social media, just doing some different stuff for you guys, just like make it more random. You know what I mean? So stay tuned for that. And tomorrow's gonna be a good prize, I think. Just kind of kick it off, and then we have some other stuff going on that I kind of like have in my head to give away to you guys. So yeah, check out our Discord. Just stay in there. If you're not in our Discord, thinkcomputers.org/Discord. That should put you right in there. Hang out, say what's up, and stay tuned because I will post something in there, and then the first person to, I guess, reply or however, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm doing something tomorrow later in the afternoon. So stay tuned for that. And that kind of wraps things up. We talk about at the end here any tech related things. Have you?
I mean, outside of the new stand for my TV, like, no, I don't think so.
So you're not like you're not like a wall mount person. Like you're not mounting your TV.
So the downstairs family room has kind of an odd wall that the TV is at. So it's kind of has a bump out. So like mounting a wall, there's just not a good spot to mount it on the wall.
Okay.
Because I have a TV on the wall in our bedroom.
Okay.
And then upstairs we have a small one in like around the fireplace. I'd like to put a bigger one above the fireplace on a mount that comes out and pulls down and then can go back up when you're not using it. But we'll get there one day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in like an apartment that I'm renting, so I'm not really, into the whole, but trying to, when you move out, you put, fill in the holes and do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just more of a pain in the ass than anything.
And do it right so that it looks good and you don't have cables running down, right?
Yeah,
If the house doesn't come or the wall doesn't come with the cable channels in the wall or anything like that, then it's just even more of a pain to look nice.
Yeah, for sure. So I just have a TV stand, but for me, not just working on reviews. I bought a new camera bag, which I'm pretty excited about. But it's honestly the same one that I have, but just a bigger the new. I have the one I've had for like years. It's like the ultimate camera bag, but now that I got a drone and I want to put a few more things in the bag, I got like the bigger version. And it's the newer version that just came out like last year. So I'm pretty excited.
That bag was big and heavy at CES. Like I remember I carried it a couple times and that thing weighed a lot.
Well, I had a lot more in there. I had a lot more in there at CES too than what I would normally do. But the whole idea is I want enough room for my camera stuff, and then I want to be able to put in like a rain jacket for like going on hikes and stuff. So that's kind of the whole thing, I guess. So
sweet.
So yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're gaming tonight. Are we gaming? We're gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how late I'm gonna go. I said in chat, someone was saying that early on Ryan looks exhausted, and I was like, yeah, I was up till 1 and didn't sleep well and woke up early.
Better get that G Fuel. G Fuel. Get on.
Oh,
it.
speaking of that G Fuel, we haven't
Go ahead.
talked about this other than I sent you the picture. You've been raving about that. What's it called? The
Peach rings.
Peach rings, yeah.
Peach rings G Fuel.
G4 Sonic or G Fuel Sonic. Nah, not a fan. I mean, I understand that it tastes like those. Don't get me wrong, it tastes like those rings, but it's way too much aftertaste of the artificial sweetener. I can't do artificial sweeteners.
That makes sense.
It doesn't bother me as much in G Fuel itself, like the mixed stuff. I don't notice it as much, but in that can, I did like that it was carbonated though. So if it was just like had high fructose corn syrup or sugar, I probably would have liked it more. But
gotcha.
Anyhow,
gotcha. Yeah. If you guys ever are at like a convenience store and you see G Fuel, look for the one that has Sonic on it. It's called Peach Rings. It's so good. In my opinion, Ryan obviously said he didn't like it, but any of the carbonated G Fuels are actually really good. I tried another one a while back.
They had a couple of them at the gas station I was at, but I just figured I'd grab that one and give it a shot.
Yeah, so definitely try that stuff out if you. And we're not sponsored by G Fuel. We just really, I enjoy their stuff. So, but yeah, we're gonna be gaming over on Twitch, twitch.tv/ThinkComputers. Ryan will have the stream up here momentarily, playing some Apex Legends. But thanks everybody for coming out. To everybody in the live chat, of course, everybody who listens later as well. And we don't have anything. We will be here the same time next week, I believe, right?
Yeah. As far as I know, unless Cox is working on my internet then, but
as far as we know. So we'll see everybody here same time next